The train station was cold and crowded. People moved quickly, talking on phones, holding coffee cups, and rushing to catch their trains. But Mira sat alone on a wooden bench near platform 6, holding a small paper bag with her last sandwich. Her coat was thin, and her shoes had holes in them. The sky outside the glass ceiling was gray, just like her thoughts. Mira had only $10 left in her pocket. No job, no home, and no family nearby. She had come to the city full of hope, dreaming of a better life. But after many failed interviews and sleeping in small shelters, she was tired and unsure of what to do next. As she looked at the large clock hanging above the station, she whispered, "Maybe one more day. Just one more." Suddenly a man walked up to her. He looked tired and dirty, wearing old clothes and broken shoes. His face was thin, and his eyes had a strange light in them, calm but deep. "Excuse me," he said softly. "I need to get to Greenfield. My ticket is $10 short. Can you help me, please?" Mira blinked. She looked at him, then looked at her pocket. She thought for a moment. $10. That was all she had. She could buy one meal, or maybe stay one more night in the shelter. But the man in front of her seemed honest. He wasn't begging. He just asked quietly and waited. She slowly pulled the money from her coat. "Here," she said, handing it to him. "It's all I have." The man took it carefully, as if it was something precious. He didn't smile, but his eyes softened. "Thank you. I won't forget this." Mira gave a small nod. "It's okay. I hope you reach where you're going." The man turned and walked away toward the ticket counter. Mira watched him for a few seconds, then looked down at her hands. Her fingers were cold, but her heart felt a little warm. She didn't know why she helped him, maybe because she knew how it felt to be alone. The loudspeaker called for train 42 to Greenfield. She saw the man walking through the gate holding his ticket. Just before he disappeared, he turned and looked back at her. He gave a slight bow. WHI, just a small, respectful gesture. Then he was gone. Mira sat for a while, unsure what to do next. With no money, her options were few. Maybe she would go back to the shelter and ask for food. Maybe tomorrow would bring something better, or maybe not. But in her heart, she felt something had shifted. Something quiet and invisible. The station became quieter as the trains left. The people disappeared one by one. Myra stood up, hugged her coat tighter around her, and walked slowly out into the cold street. Meanwhile, inside train 42, the man, who had received Mira's last $10, sat by the window. The train moved through the countryside, the city shrinking behind. He looked out at the sky, his reflection shining in the glass. But something was different now. His image in the window shimmered. Slowly, the man's dirty clothes changed shape and color. His face became clear, his skin smooth, his eyes bright like stars. The old shoes turned into polished boots. The tired look disappeared. He pressed a button on a device hidden in his coat. A soft voice responded through a small earpiece. "Observation complete," the man said. "Subject identified, human female. Name, Mira. Age, 27. Status, unemployed. Action, donated last financial unit to unknown stranger." The voice replied, "Confirmed. Test successful. Emotional capacity exceeds projected value." The man smiled. Gently. "Prepare contact protocol. This one is ready." He looked out the window again, thinking of the girl who gave away her last hope without asking anything in return. "She has the spark," he whispered. "And maybe ... that spark is what we need." Back in the city, Myra walked along the sidewalk, past shops and cafes she could not enter. The world seemed to move too fast, and she felt invisible. But deep inside, she remembered the man's eyes, the small bow, the way he said, "I won't forget this." She didn't know who he really was. She didn't know what her small act meant. But the stars had started to move, and everything was about to change. 3 days had passed since Mira gave her last $10 to the stranger at the train station. She had not forgotten him, but life moved on. She slept at the shelter, ate from the free food line, and spent her time walking the streets, searching for work. That morning, The sky was clear, and the sun felt warm on her face. We sitting outside the public library, reading a flyer about cleaning jobs when her old phone vibrated. The screen flickered. It was barely working these days, but somehow a message had arrived. You are invited to a private interview. Transport will be provided. Arrival expected 2 p.m. Location, Pier 9, Gate B, Saltec Reach. Mira stared at the message. Saltec Reach? She had never heard of it. And Pier 9? It was near the city's closed docks where no one went anymore. Was this a joke? She almost deleted the message, but something inside told her to go. She had nothing to lose. It was already 12:30 p.m. If she left now, she could reach the pier by foot. Myra stood up, brushed the dust off her jeans, started walking. At 2 p.m. sharp, she reached Pier 9. The air smelled like salt and rust. Old. Containers stood like metal giants, and broken lights hung from wires. But Gate B was clean, almost too clean. It had a small silver platform in the center, and a glowing blue ring hovering above it as Mira stepped closer. The blue ring lit up, and a smooth voice spoke from nowhere. Mira, you are confirmed. Please step onto the platform. She hesitated. Was this real? But again, her heart whispered, go. So she stepped on the platform. A soft hum filled the air. And in the blink of an eye, the world around her changed. No more pier, no more rust, no more smell of salt. Mira stood inside a bright room made of glass and silver. The floor was smooth like water, and the ceiling showed a moving sky full of stars. She gasped. She wasn't on Earth anymore. She could feel it. Something was different in the air, the light, the silence. Welcome, Myra, said a voice from behind her. She turned quickly. It was the same man from the train station. But now he looked very different. He wore a clean silver suit that glowed softly. His face was smooth and calm, and his eyes had a golden shine, like they held a whole galaxy inside. You. Mira stepped back.
Oh.
You're not just a poor man, gave a gentle smile. No, I am not. My name is Aaron. I am a traveler, an observer, and more. Myra's voice shook. Why? Why did you ask for my money? It was a test, Aaron said. Not for fun, not for games, a test of the heart. She frowned. A test. Aaron walked to the center of the room and waved his hand. A large screen appeared, showing stars, planets, and glowing ships moving across the sky. There is a great alliance in this universe, Mira. Many species, many worlds. But we are always looking for something rare, something more than knowledge or power. He turned to her. We look for heart, for kindness, for sacrifice without reward. Most civilizations fail, some pass, and a few surprise us. Mira stepped forward slowly, trying to understand. You're saying you tested Earth. Aaron nodded. Yes. I walked among your people. I saw fear, greed, anger, but also hope, love, and courage. Then I met you. She looked down. Didn't do anything special. I just helped. That, he said softly, is what makes it special. The screen changed again. Now it showed a large space station full of different alien creatures walking together. Some had long arms. Others had no faces. Colors, shapes, and sizes Myra had never imagined. This is the Unity Hall, Aaron said. It is where decisions are made for the galaxy. But only those with deep understanding of compassion can stand there. And you want me to go there? She asked, shocked. I want you to represent your world, Aaron said. To speak not with pride, but with truth, at the heart. We need. Mira laughed a little, shaking her head. But I'm just a normal girl. I have no money, no job. I didn't even finish school. Aaron stepped closer. That's why you are perfect. You helped when you had nothing to give. That is what most cannot do. Mira felt tears in her eyes. I'm scared. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Good. Only the brave feel fear and move forward anyway. A door opened, revealing a sleek silver ship with glowing blue lights. It looked alive, as if it breathed slowly. If you step inside, there is no turning back, Aaron said. You will leave Earth. You will see things no human has ever seen. And your voice may guide the future. Mira stood silent. Her hands shook. Her legs felt heavy. But her heart beat strong. I'll go, she said quietly. Aaron smiled. Then your journey begins now. They walked side by side toward the ship. As Mira entered, soft lights followed her footsteps. The air inside smelled like flowers and fresh wind. Where are we going first? She asked. To the edge of the galaxy, Aaron said. To the place where choices shape the stars? Mira took a deep breath and looked out the window. Earth was still out there. Her old life was behind her, but ahead was something bigger. She had no money, no fancy degree, no weapons or power, only heart. And that, perhaps, was the most powerful thing in the universe. Mira sat inside the silver spaceship, staring out of the window. The stars outside moved slowly, like glowing dust in the dark. She still could not believe it. Just days ago, she was sitting on a cold bench with only $10 in her pocket. Now, she was flying through space. Aaron sat across from her, calm and quiet. The room inside the ship was soft and warm, like it had a life of its own. The lights were gentle, and the floor moved slightly as the ship flew forward. Where are we now? Mira asked. We are leaving Earth's solar system, Aaron replied. Soon, we will enter deep space. Our first stop is the Galactic Station. Mira looked surprised. What is that? Is a place where many species from across the stars meet, Aaron explained. It's a center for peace, knowledge, and unity. And it is where your test will begin. Mira blinked. Test? What kind of test? Aaron turned to her. Not a test of skill or strength. This is a test of wisdom, heart, and courage. You will not fight. You will listen. You will choose. Your choices will speak for your world. Mira felt nervous, but I don't know anything about space or aliens. What if I fail? Aaron smiled. You won't? You just need to be yourself. After some time, the ship slowed down. Outside the window, a huge station appeared floating like a bright island in the dark. It was shaped like a ring, spinning slowly. Lights blinked from every side. Small ships flew in and out like bees in a hive. Welcome to Unity Station, Aaron said. The ship gently landed inside a large hangar. When the doors opened, Mira stepped out and gasped. The station was filled with life. Tall creatures with blue skin, short ones with crystal arms, and beings that floated in the air. All walking, talking, and moving together. Some stared at Mira, but not with anger or hate, only curiosity. This way, Aaron said. Guiding her, they walked through shining halls until they reached a room shaped like a circle. Inside were 20 aliens sitting around a floating table. The middle, a large screen, showed a map of a planet. 2 beings stood across from each other, arguing in different languages. The station translated their words in Mira's ear. We discovered the planet first, said the Kalari, a tall, thin alien with glowing lines on its body. No, we lived near it for generations, shouted the Breen, a small round creature. With soft green skin and deep eyes, Aaron leaned toward Mira. This is your test. Mira's eyes widened. What? Me? Yes, Aaron nodded. These 2 species are about to go to war over this planet. You must listen, understand, and offer a solution. No one will force them. But they agreed to let you try. Mira stepped forward slowly. Aliens looked at her with interest. A human, newcomer. She took a deep breath. Hello, she said, her voice calm. My name is Mira. I'm from Earth. I don't know everything about your worlds, but I know what fighting does. I've seen people lose homes, families, peace, all because they could not find another way. The Kalari spoke. That planet has rare crystals we need. Our systems are weak, the Breen replied, but we have a deep connection with its forests. It feeds our spirit and life. Mira thought for a moment. She remembered something from Earth, how people fought over land, money, or resources. And sometimes The answer wasn't taking or leaving, but sharing. She spoke gently. On Earth, people sometimes fight over rivers or forests, but in some places, they learn to care for them together. One group protects, the other shares the use. They make rules, they build trust. The room became quiet. The Kalari and Breen looked at each other. You mean both of us? Kalari asked. Yes, Mira said. What if you protect the planet together? Share it. Create a team from both your people. Watch over it, not take from it. The Breen nodded slowly. A shared world. It will take work, Mira said, and patience. But war will destroy what you both love. The council whispered among themselves. One tall alien with many eyes stood up. She speaks with care. I agreed to support this plan. Others followed. Even those not part of the conflict seemed moved. The Kalari and Breen looked at Mira. We will try, the Kalari said. For the sake of peace. We agree, said the Breen. You have given us a new path. Mira felt her heart beat fast. She had done it. She had stopped a war. Later, Aaron walked beside her through the glowing halls. You passed the test, he said. I just told the truth, Mira replied. That is why you passed, Aaron said. Many speak with pride or anger, you spoke with heart. That is rare. Mira looked at him. So what happens now? You continue, he said. This was only the beginning. There are more voices to hear, more hearts to reach. It's his many good people, but you will be the first voice they hear. Mira nodded slowly. She didn't feel like a hero. She didn't feel strong. But she knew something had changed. In a galaxy full of power and technology. It was her kindness that opened doors, and deep inside. She knew this journey was no longer just hers. It was for all of Earth. Mira sat quietly in her new room aboard Unity Station. The walls were soft silver, and the ceiling showed moving stars like a peaceful sky. It felt safe, but she could not rest. Her heart still beat fast from the meeting. She had stopped a war between two alien races. She had done something no one expected from a simple human girl. A soft sound came from the door. Aaron stepped in. Holding a small glowing tablet, there is something new, he said, a new conflict, and it is more difficult than before. Mira looked up. What happened? Aaron walked to the window and tapped the glass. The view changed. A planet covered with mountains and golden forests. Several ships floated above it, their lights blinking like stars. This is Tyron 4, Aaron said. A beautiful world with no native people. The two powerful species have claimed it for different reasons. Myra stood beside him. Who are they? Aaron pointed to the ships. One is the Zarn builders and engineers. Their cities rise like towers in the sky. The other is the day artists and dreamers. They believe the planet should remain untouched, a place for beauty and quiet. Listened carefully. The Zarn want to build factories and stations. They say progress is more important than peace. They say the land should be protected forever as a symbol of life and balance. Mira frowned. Can't they just agree to protect part of it and build on the rest? They refused, Aaron said. The Zarn say they need the full land to make it useful. They say even one factory will ruin its soul, and now they are getting ready for battle. Mira looked down. Why do they have to fight? Why can't they talk? They have tried, Aaron said, but both sides are too proud. That is why they called for a speaker from Earth. That is why they called for you. A few hours later, Mira stood on a high platform inside a new meeting. Hall, the Zarn, and the they sat across from each other. The air was heavy with silence. The Zarn leader, a tall being with hard silver skin and glowing red eyes, spoke first. We come with reason. We bring machines, power, future. We offer growth and strength. Then the they leader, a thin creature with long arms and soft glowing patterns on its body, answered. You come with noise, bring fire and steel. You will break the heart of the planet. Myra stepped forward. Both of you love this world. One sees it as a home for progress. One sees it as a gift of nature. But maybe you were both right. The Zarin leader frowned. There's no middle ground. We need all the land. And the they leaders shook their head. Even one scar will kill its spirit. Mira thought deeply. She remembered the forests near her childhood. Home. A company had once tried to cut them down. The people in her town had made a plan. A shared land where part was protected and part was used carefully. It had worked. Not perfectly, but it had saved both the trees and the town. She looked at the two alien leaders. What if she began, "You build your cities"? Not on the land, but above it? The room went quiet. Mira continued. Use floating platforms. The Zarn have technology. Build in the sky. No harm to the forest. And let the day guide where nothing should be touched. The Zarn leader looked surprised. Build in the sky? No one has suggested that. The they leader looked at Mira. You mean protect the land while allowing progress to float above it? Yes, Mira said. You can work together. One builds with respect. One protects with wisdom. You don't need to be enemies. There was silence then. Slowly, the Zarn leader nodded. We will test this idea, the they leader added. We will guide the skies if the land stays whole. Mira smiled softly. The tension in the room melted like ice in the sun. The meeting ended with quiet peace. Later that evening, Mira sat with Aaron in the garden dome of the station. Beautiful glowing plants surrounded them, and soft music from an alien instrument played in the background. You did it again, Aaron said. Mira looked up. I just spoke what I believed. That is the key, Aaron said. Most worlds forget how to listen. They only want to win. Sometimes, they remember how to share. Myra looked at the stars. Do you think Earth will ever be part of this galaxy? Truly? Soon Aaron replied. You are the beginning. Others will follow. And your story will be told across many planets. Mira smiled, though she still felt small inside. But she no longer felt weak. She had no power, no army, no great machines. But she had heart, and she had a voice. And in this galaxy, that was enough to make peace grow. Days passed on Unity Station, but Mira hardly noticed the time. Every morning, new messages arrived. More planets were asking for help. More leaders wanted her to speak. She was no longer just a visitor from Earth. She had become a symbol of peace across the stars. But Mira did not let it change her heart. She still wore her old coat from Earth, and she still spoke in the same simple, honest way. One morning, as she walked through the glass garden with Aaron, he handed her a silver card. This is a call from the Galactic Council, Aaron said. They want to meet you today? The main council? Mira asked, surprised. Yes, Aaron nodded. The highest circle of leaders. They make final decisions for the Alliance. Mira took a deep breath. What do they want from me? Aaron looked at her kindly. They want to offer Earth something it has never had before, a voice. Council room was large and shaped like a circle. The floor glowed like stars, and the walls showed moving images of different worlds. 17 seats surrounded a central platform. In each seat sat a leader from a different species tall. Small, glowing, shadowy, or strange, but all wise and powerful. Mira stepped onto the center platform. A warm light shined on her. The oldest council member, a being made of soft blue, light spoke first. Mira of Earth, he said. You are not a warrior. You are not rich. You are not trained. And yet you have done more than many of us in years. Another member, with crystal skin, added, You have stopped conflict on 3 planets. Your voice has brought reason. We see something rare in you. A third, with golden feathers, asked, Tell us, what does Earth truly offer to the stars? Stood tall. Her voice was calm, but full of feeling. Earth is not perfect, she began. We still fight. We still struggle. We have something important. We remember kindness. We remember stories. Care, even when we are weak. That is our strength. She looked at each council member. Many of your worlds are old and wise. You have built great machines and strong empires. But sometimes you forget the small things. A smile, a helping hand, a gift with no reward. Earth still remembers. The room was quiet, then the blue light being nodded. We agree. The crystal leader stood. We vote now. One by one, the council members raised their hands or wings. Or lights. 17 out of 17, Earth had been accepted into the Galactic Alliance. Later, back in her room, Mira sat by the window. She looked at the stars and smiled. It was hard to believe. Her planet was now part of something so big because of a single act of kindness. Because she had given her last $10 to a stranger, Aaron entered. Holding a new robe-light gray with soft blue lines and a small Earth symbol on the shoulder. This is your new title, he said. You are now Earth's first galactic ambassador. Mira touched the robe gently. It feels like a dream. It's real, Aaron said, and it's only the beginning. The next day, Mira traveled to a nearby world called Surla 5. It was a place of learning and history. There, she gave her first speech as Earth's representative. Thousands of beings gathered in the Golden Hall to hear her speak. She did not speak with big words or long speeches. She simply told the story. How she was poor, how she met a stranger, how she gave what little she had, and how that small act changed. Everything. When she finished, no one clapped, because many species didn't even have hands, but the silence was full of meaning. Then a soft glow began, spreading through the crowd. It was a sign of deep respect among the stars. As weeks passed, Mira helped write peace agreements between planets. She taught others about Earth's history, its mistakes, its lessons, its heart, and something began to happen. Other species started sharing stories too. The Colliery wrote songs about sharing. They painted Myra's journey on floating walls. The Breen built a library shaped like a heart. Change had begun, not through war, not through control, but through kindness, through one human voice. One night, Mira stood alone on the viewing deck of the station. The stars looked close, like lights in a soft blanket. She thought of her past, of the cold nights, the empty stomach, the train station, the stranger. Aaron walked in quietly. You look thoughtful. I'm just remembering, she said. He stood beside her. Do you ever regret giving me that $10? Mira smiled. No, that was one of the best choices I ever made. I was sent to Earth to observe your kind, Aaron said, to decide if you were ready. But after I met you, I knew the truth. Mira looked at him. What truth? Aaron turned to her, eyes full of light. That humans are not special because they are strong or smart or fast. They are special because they care, even when no one is watching. Mira nodded. I think that's what makes us human. And so, across the stars, change continued. Not loud, not fast, but real. Because one girl believed in giving. Because one heart remembered. Hope. Because one human showed the galaxy that kindness is powerful. Months had passed since Mira became Earth's first galactic ambassador. She had spoken in floating cities, walked through crystal forests, and stood on moons with no gravity. Her name was known across the stars. But still, her heart often remembered the small train station back on Earth, where everything had started. 1. Morning, as Mira walked through the quiet halls of Unity Station, Aaron joined her. His long silver robe flowed behind him, and his calm smile greeted her like always. There is a message for you, said. Mira took the glowing tablet he handed her. The message was simple. Earth requests your return. You are needed. She looked up at Aaron. What happened? Your planet is proud, he said, but also confused. Some do not believe your story. Others think the galaxy is too dangerous. Earth needs to see you again with their own eyes. Mira nodded. Then it's time I go home. A sleek galactic ship was prepared for her. It was smaller than the others made for quiet journeys. As Mira stepped inside, she looked back at Unity Station one last time. The stars behind it blinked gently, as if waving goodbye. The journey to Earth was silent. Mira sat near the window, watching space drift by. She wondered how Earth had changed. Did people still ride trains? Did the station bench still sit in the same spot? When the ship entered Earth's orbit, Mira saw the blue oceans, the green land, and the white clouds. Her eyes filled with tears. "Home," she whispered. She landed near the same city where it all began. A group of world leaders and reporters waited at the spaceport. Cameras flashed, and people clapped. Children held signs with her name written in many languages. But Mira didn't smile for the cameras. She felt something was missing. "Can I go to the train station?" she asked. The leaders looked surprised. "Now, yes," Mira said. "Alone." They agreed. A quiet black car took Myra through the busy city streets. She saw the same old buildings, the same markets, and the same people, walking quickly with tired eyes. But the city hadn't changed much. Finally, the car stopped. Mira stepped out onto the same concrete floor where she once sat, hungry and cold. The station still smelled like coffee and metal. People rushed past her, not knowing who she was. She walked slowly to platform 6. The bench was still there. She sat down and closed her eyes. So many memories. This was where she gave her last. $10. This was where her life changed forever. And now she had returned with nothing in her hands, but with a universe in her heart. As she sat quietly, a small sound came beside her. She opened her eyes and saw a boy maybe 10 years old looking at her. "You look like the space lady on TV," said Mira, smiled. "Maybe I am." The boy sat next to her. "Are the aliens real?" "Yes," she said softly. "Very real." "Are they scary?" he asked. "No," she said. "They're just different, like us." The boy nodded. "Hey, my mom says Earth. It's too small for you now. She says you don't belong here anymore." Mira looked at him kindly. "Earth is in my heart. It will always be my home and yours." The boy smiled. "I want to go to space too one day, you will," Mira said. "And when you do, don't forget to be kind." He looked confused. "Why?" "Because kindness is the only thing that travels farther than light." Later that evening, Mira walked through the streets alone. She passed a bakery, bought a loaf of bread, and shared it with a stray dog. She passed an old woman with heavy bags and helped her carry them across the street. No cameras followed her now. No one gave her medals, but Myra didn't need any of that. She had returned to remember who she was and to remind her people of something important. You don't have to leave Earth to be great. You just have to care. The next day, Mira stood in front of a large crowd at the city center. This time everyone watched her not as a stranger, but as one of their own. She didn't speak about planets or technology. She spoke about people, about hunger, about giving, about how one small act can echo across the stars. And when she finished, there was silence. Not the silence of confusion, but the silence of understanding. After her speech, she visited the shelters she once stayed in. She gave small gifts, books, food, blankets. She spoke to young girls who had lost hope and told them her story, not with pride, but with truth. You don't need to be rich to change the world, she said. You just need to care when it matters most. Before leaving Earth, Mira returned one last time to the train station. This time, she didn't sit on the bench. She placed a small envelope under it. Inside was $100 and a note for the one who needs it most. Then she turned, walked away, and disappeared into the soft light of morning. Back in space. As her ship rose through the sky, Mira looked down at the small blue planet growing smaller. "I'm ready now," she said. Aaron, sitting beside her, nodded. "And so is your world." Myra's ship floated quietly through space, leaving Earth behind. The blue planet grew smaller with each passing moment, but it stayed bright in her heart. She sat near the window, thinking of the people she had seen, the old train station, the boy who wanted to visit space, the quiet smile of the old woman. She helped. Home was never far, even when the stars stretched endlessly ahead. Aaron sat beside her. "Watching the stars? You've done more than anyone ever expected," he said softly. Myra shook her head. I only did what felt right. Is why your voice has become so powerful, Aaron replied. It's not loud, it's honest. When they arrived back at Unity Station, Mira was greeted with quiet respect. There were no parades, no music, just peaceful smiles, soft glowing lights, and the kind nods of beings from 100 worlds. She returned to her room. It was just as she left it, simple and calm. Small crystal flowers sat on the table. It had been sent by the they with a note, because of you, our trees still sing. Next to it, a polished metal cube from the Kalari read, our towers now rise beside gardens. On her wall, images of different worlds glowed slowly, each one a place where her words had brought peace, or hope, or change. But Mira didn't collect these things like trophies. She kept them as reminders of what mattered. Not power, not fame, just kindness. Soon after, the Galactic Alliance invited Mira to speak at the Unity Year Gathering, a massive event held once every 10 years. Billions would watch from across the galaxy. Each species would send its wisest speaker. This time, it was Mira's turn. The Great Hall was shaped like a star. It floated above a golden planet, held in place by energy beams. Inside, thousands of beings from hundreds of races gathered. Some shimmered like water, others floated like smoke. Some stood tall, some crawled, and some flew. When Myra stepped onto the speaking platform, the lights dimmed. A soft silence fell across the hall. She looked around, then took a deep breath. I'm not a leader, she began. Not a scientist or a hero. I used to sit on a train bench, cold and alone. Had nothing but $10 in my pocket. Listeners tilted their heads. Others blinked softly. One day, a stranger asked me for help. I gave him my last money. I didn't do it to be famous. I didn't know who he was. I just thought, maybe he needed it more than I did. She paused. That simple act led me here. Not because I am special, but because kindness is special. Because care, true, cares. The one language we all understand. She looked around the room. I have seen your worlds. I've walked on ice planets, floated in singing skies, and listened to stories written in light. You are all so different. And yet, the smallest act of good means the same everywhere. The hall remained silent. Then slowly, one by one, soft lights appeared across the room, a signal of deep respect. After the speech, messages came from all corners of the galaxy. A young girl from a desert planet wrote, because of you I helped. A stranger today, an engineer from a gas world, said, I gave up a contract to protect a quiet forest. Your story reminded me of what matters. A warrior captain wrote simply, I cried. Years passed. Mira continued her work. She helped settle disputes, guided young leaders, and shared Earth's stories. She never asked for riches. She lived simply, even when offered more, and her story, though. Girl who gave her last $10 was told in schools, painted on walls, and remembered in songs, on a planet of glass mountains. They built a statue of her sitting on a bench, reaching out her hand to a stranger. On a floating city, her name was used to open peace talks. Let us speak, like Mira did. Even Earth changed. People remembered. Governments added Kindness Week to every school year. The bench at Platform 6 was cleaned and covered with a small golden plate, where the stars first listened. One quiet morning, Mira walked, alone through the garden dome of Unity Station. She moved slowly now. Her hair had streaks of silver, but her eyes were still bright. She sat on a stone bench and looked out at the stars. Aaron joined her. He had not aged, his kind lived longer than humans, but his respect for her had only grown. You've done enough, he said. Mira smiled. The galaxy still needs more kindness. Aaron nodded. And it will find it. You've planted enough seeds. She looked up at the stars. Do you think one act really can change everything? Aaron smiled. I don't think it. I know it. I saw it. That evening, a new ship left Unity Station. Inside were young ambassadors from different planets. Humans, Kalari, they breen, and more. They had been trained by Mira. They carried her lessons. They called themselves the Bridge Keepers. They would go where she had gone, not to rule, not to control, but to listen, to care, to remind others of the power of kindness. As for Mira, her name became part of history, not because she was the strongest, not because she was the smartest, but because she cared when it mattered most. And that simple act, a $10 gift to a stranger, echoed through time, through stars, and through hearts. Forever, the end.